Galactic paths of ancient lore, metaphysical keys to unlock the door. A book written by Jada Pasor, with the guided visions of Yoshimo. Ancient black spirituality, galactic celestial symphony, cosmic melanated energy, the spirits are within me, our history. Ancient black spirituality, galactic celestial symphony, cosmic melanated energy, the spirits are within me, our history. Ancient black spirituality, galactic celestial symphony, cosmic melanated energy, spirits are within me, our history. Ancient black spirituality, galactic celestial symphony, cosmic melanated energy, spirits are within me, our history.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Ancient Black Spirituality. So today I will be discussing my brand new book, available exclusively on Amazon.com. The ebook is now free for limited time, so I hope you all will go get the free ebook at the very least if you are interested. So my name is Jada, and I am a two-time author, so this is my second book that I have published. I'm an independent researcher. I just graduated college with my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I have been inspired by one of my mentors, Dr. Clyde Winters, and his amazing Afrocentric research, and I really just was inspired to begin my research journey. And I went to a research-based university and was a research assistant, so I was really interested in research and applying it to my people, applying it to our history, and just learning so much more about who we are, and putting it within a book form that is easy to read and that's not too long, not too short, but that gives great information. And that was my goal with this book. So what I did with this book, and what I really wanted to do, was bring together not only the Afrocentric history aspect, but also bring in the spirituality, religious, whatever you want to call it, bringing the God aspect in and marrying the two, so that we can gain a better understanding of how we're related to God, what is the divine within us and everything around us, how we relate to the earth and how we relate to one another, how our melanin impacts that. And so these are the conversations that I wanted to have. What was the symbolism behind these ancient black cultures? For example, what is the symbolism behind the serpent? What is within Egyptian culture? And when you look, it's across many different cultures. So what I do in this book is I conduct what I call a comparative spiritual analysis. And so what I do within that is I compare different cultures. So in this book, I'm discussing the ancient Egyptians, the Dravidians, the Sumerians, the Pelasgians, the Meroites. Like, I'm discussing all these different cultures and how they relate to one another, and how their religious practices and spiritualities and symbolism all relate to one another, and all go back to the same metaphysics, the same physiology, and how it's all about the same process, which is difficult for me to explain right now, but we'll get more into it. But yeah, that was my goal with this book, and I feel like I did that. So hopefully you guys will support the book if you are interested. So I'm going to start by showing you all an example from the book of a concept that I was discussing. So I discuss a lot of the different Egyptian gods and some of the different stories and things like that. So I break it down into chapters, of each different ancient group that I'll discuss. And so in the Egyptian chapter, I discuss Amun-Ra and how these depictions with the horns are representative of our hippocampus in our brain. So the hippocampus is the area of the brain responsible for memory and things like that. That's like the main function of the hippocampus. And so we can see that this area, based on these pictures, looks like a horn. So you can see the horns that were also depicted on Amun-Ra. And then you can see from the side view how the hippocampus looks as well. It's like this horn shape that we often saw in the ancient cultures. So this is just one of the examples that I give in the book to have a discussion. And we will, you'll see in the book that this concept of horns is in many of the other cultures that I discuss as well. So I also discuss the Eye of Horus and also the Falcon of Horus, and show some of these images as well. So you can see that this Eye of Horus is really representative of this area within the brain, where the pineal and pituitary and all that region, that's what it looks like. So the ancient Egyptians had the corpus callosum and medulla. The ancient Egyptians had a very high knowledge of physiology in their bodies and how our bodies relate, and the relationship that our brains, particularly our brains, have with that divine energy, and how we can gain that divine connection through our minds and through our brains, through physiology. So also you can see this inner bird, so how it looks like a falcon in this region. So you can see here the pineal gland, the pituitary, the thalamus. This area, when you take it and look at that area, it looks like a falcon. So, and that's still the same region where the Eye of Horus comes out of. So you can see how a lot of this is really physiology at play. So another example from my book is Ganesh. So Ganesh is a Dravidian Hindu god who is often associated with like success and good luck and blessings and things like that. But this is also an area of our brain. When we look at the brain from this view, this is like the ventral view, like when you look at the brain basically like upside down, I believe, we see that the brainstem, the cerebellum, and the medulla make up this shape that looks like an elephant. And so the elephant was represented in many of the different cultures. We see this elephant cross-culturally, and we can see why the elephant was so important to our ancient people and how this relates. So we're seeing this across cultures and the symbolism in relation to ourselves. So you're probably wondering, okay, you're showing me all this about these things being in the brain, but why should I care that that's in my brain? What does that have to do with God? And what does that have to do with my connection to the divine just because it's within me? So this is the hardest concept to explain. And so what you're seeing on the screen right now is what is called the sacred secretion. So this is a concept I actually learned about when I was quite young. I was very lucky and fortunate to learn about it at a young age, and now I'm finally starting to grow within that. I'm finally starting to just understand it more, and I've done more research on it. So it's a concept that I try to really explain and make it make sense in the book. And I feel like these pictures and visuals make it a little bit easier for people to understand. So the story of Christ is a story most of us are familiar with. So that's what this is often associated with. But excuse me, the sacred secretion, and knowledge of this physiology that was going on in our bodies is the knowledge that the ancient Egyptians, that Dravidians, Sumerians, Meroites, Pelasgians, they all understood this concept. So this is what I'm really trying to get across in the book, is that this is what all of this is about, and that this is what is being hidden from us purposely. This is why they won't teach us our history. Because if they teach us our history, we will go back to this and we will connect with the divine. And if we connect with the divine, we will diminish their white supremacy system. Okay, so I discussed this concept and the oil, the Christos that is within us. And it comes from it's cerebral spinal fluid. It comes from our cerebellum. Okay, and the cerebellum gives our pineal and pituitary glands the milk and the honey, respectively. And then that goes down the claustrum, which represents the story of Santa Claus. So these two sacred oils, and the pineal is masculine, the pituitary is feminine. So that's representative of Mary and Joseph. And so these two oils travel down to the solar plexus, so to your sacrum. And all of this happens when the moon is in your sun sign. And so, and then if you do well, and if you don't lose your fluid through intercourse or through eating bad foods or just through not doing what you're supposed to, if you don't lose it, you can rise that oil back up with the power of the Kundalini energy, and it will go back up to your pineal gland. So this is a very difficult concept, but this is where the whole concept of Christ comes from. You have 33 vertebrae, you have 12 cranial nerves. That's where so the 33 vertebrae is representative of the 33 years of the life of Christ, and the 12 cranial nerves are the 12 disciples. Okay, and then Jesus was crucified in Golgotha, which means place of the skull. So all of this, I want people anyone who reads this, to try and just understand this and try to just gain a better sense of how the same story was being told over and over for a reason. And it was to teach us about who we are. So the stories are not outside of you. The stories are not, these are allegories, okay? And so everybody's searching for something that's outside of them, and there's no divine outside of us. It's within us. And the melanin has a lot to do with this as well, which I discuss in my book. So I don't think I'm doing too great of a job explaining it right now, but it's a really, really, I feel like it makes more sense in the book. So I just want people to be able to zoom out a little bit, or zoom in, whatever it is, and be able to look at these stories that we've learned and been taught, look at it from a different perspective. And when we look at it from this perspective, to me, it makes all the sense in the world. And hopefully it makes sense to other people who, maybe this is a new concept to you guys. I've learned this when I was little, so it could be a new concept for people, and I understand it could be difficult to break away from that, taking things literally, because that's how we've been taught for so long. But a lot of our ancient writings were in codes. A lot of things we did, as I just showed you with the Eye of Horus and the Amon's Horn, like it was in code. It was done in code because it's called a secretion, which means secret. So this is like a secret thing that you really have to work towards, and you really have to build yourself for this. And this is what our ancient ancestors were doing. That's why they were able to build pyramids. This is why they were able to build the most beautiful temples in the world, and people still don't know how they did it, but they had that divine energy and life force within them that allowed them to do so. So this is the concept that is the most difficult to understand, but also the most beautiful and amazing thing once you learn more about it. So learning about this is really important and something I really wanted to share. And I hope that it resonates with people, and hope it makes people want to learn even more about it and go and do their own research as well. Don't just take my word for it. I have a lot of sources cited in the references pages. So hopefully this will really make people want to research and want to understand it. So this concept, I understand, can be a bit difficult. I just want people to look at it from this physiological, metaphysical perspective that I feel the ancient cultures were meant to be looked at from. I feel like it was meant to be looked at from this perspective. So I'm trying to bring that to light. So yeah, hopefully you all will support the book, Ancient Black Spirituality, on Amazon.com. And hopefully you all enjoy it. I want everything to make sense to you guys. I want it to resonate with people, and I want to just put the truth out there about who we are and about our history and about what our ancestors have left for us and what they want us to continue doing. And the only way to defeat the spiritual warfare that's happening is to be well within yourself. And I think hopefully this book will make people want to be better, just make people want to live life a little bit differently, or look at life in a different perspective, and understand that our ancestors are with us, they're within us and everything around us. God is within us and everything around us, and this is what they left for us, and it's a beautiful thing. So hopefully you all enjoy the book, and I appreciate you listening. Peace.